Hello, Mr. Mayor.
How are you, sir?
I'm not in jail.
That's good. How's everything? So we've never actually introduced. My name's Andy. How are you, buddy?
Like I said, I'm not in jail.
No, that's good. You never mind. So.
I'm sorry. Are you busy, sir?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to briefly bring something up, and
What's up, buddy?
not making any demands. I know that the city doesn't revolve around me, but there's been an ongoing issue over the past several years, which I'm probably sure you're aware of, which is that I haven't done it lately, but routinely I film the police at traffic stops.
Yes, sir.
And when I first started in late 2018, and then into 2019 especially, the police would find ways to arrest me.
Okay.
And generally, the district attorney would dismiss the charges because there was no probable cause ultimately.
Yes, sir.
But as we both know, police are human beings and they have strong feelings about being filmed.
Yes, sir.
So the point I'm trying to make is that as the years have gone from 2018 to 2024, there's been like an informal, I'm trying to think of the right word here, like an informal understanding as to what I'm doing.
Yes, sir.
At first it was all like, well, oh my God, this is a threat to officer safety and all this. And there's especially police that hate cameras. They would try to just find any reason to arrest me.
Yeah.
Especially the El Paso police, but obviously that's another jurisdiction.
Yes,
but
sir.
just the overall law enforcement culture, I mean, it's definitely there to this day, but now that I've done this for several years, and now also because other parts of the country, the movement that because what I'm doing is part of a political movement.
Yes, sir.
Throughout the nation.
Yeah. It's auditing, auditing our government, doing all. Yeah, I fully understand what you guys are doing.
Right, but
Yeah.
Which ultimately, it's all connected to the old school version of journalism, but now with one iPhone or one smartphone.
Yeah. You have a full broadcast facility with you in your hands. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'll tell you, so I fully understand what you guys are doing, and I grew up here in Horizon. I'm just a regular guy. I grew up here in Horizon. I love Horizon. That's why I ran for office, right? I wanted to help the community because I literally grew up here in Horizon, and I understand what you all are doing. It's great, and I'm glad that we can have these interactions because when I came in, we have to be transparent. The city, our government has to be transparent with our constituents. That's what all of this is about. So I don't mind sitting down and talking to you anytime. If you want to have a cup of coffee, give me a call. Set it up with my city clerk, and I'll sit down with you, have a cup of coffee, we'll talk. That's what this is about. We have to make sure that you all know what we're doing, and because we want to be transparent with the community. That's what this is about, because I work for everybody here. I work for everybody that lives here in Horizon City. And there's a lot of folks that live down East Lake and the surrounding areas. They think they live in Horizon because of their postal address. I don't know if you
I'm glad you bring that up. Yeah.
Yeah. And that wasn't us. That was for postal reasons only. But I will say that because I call it the greater Horizon City. The folks that live down East Lake in the county.
Right.
The people over in Ascension.
Agua Dulce.
Agua Dulce. All of those areas. I call it the greater Horizon City because what we do here still impacts them, although they may not vote, they may not pay taxes to Horizon City. It still impacts them because a lot of people travel through here, a lot of people shop here. So we have to make sure that we're transparent with the community so everybody knows exactly what's happening out here. So yeah, Andre, correct?
My name's Andre, yes sir.
Do you prefer that I call you something else, or is Andre okay, or Mr. Lagergren?
I'm not that sensitive. Yeah, I mean,
okay.
If you feel comfortable calling me by my first name, that's fine with me.
And it's only because if my mom said that if I always call people by their last name, and because if not, I'm gonna have a chunk come down at Horizon Boulevard and hit me in the back of the head.
Oh,
if
wow.
I'm not respectful.
If it's like that, no.
If I'm not respectful,
you gotta follow your mom's rules. Yeah.
But yeah, and I tell you, I'm just a regular guy. I'm trying to do the best for Horizon City. And if you see something, talk to me about it. You know, and that goes for everybody. You know, if there's a concern, give us a call. I don't want to be adversaries. We shouldn't be adversaries because we're all working kind of towards the same goal. You know what I mean? So like I said, if you ever want to have a cup of coffee, give me a call, and we'll go sit down and have a cup of coffee, and we'll talk over some stuff. But you know, I just want to make sure that you know, I don't have any ill will towards you. I hope you don't have any ill will towards me. And we're just trying to work on making sure that Horizon is in good hands, and even after I'm done, you know, because I'm only here for a short amount of time when you think about big picture.
How long is your term? How long?
4 years.
4 years?
Yeah, 4 years. So I was sworn in June 20th? June 20th, yes, sir. So I'm on month 8 right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so I still got a little bit, but I may be here after 4 years. I may be here, you know what I mean?
Well, that's what, I'm sorry, I totally forgot the last mayor's last name. What was his last name?
Mendoza.
Yeah, but
Mendoza.
obviously Walter Miller, Mendoza, they've simply just moved over to other positions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right.
And I was on city council before. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
So I was on city council for 6 years, and then I decided to throw my hat into this race. But,
Sure.
but again, I want to do what's best for the city. And again, I work for all the folks that live here. You know, that's really what it is. I work for them, and if there's an issue, give me a call. You know, and I'm sure we can figure it out together. You know, I'm not that guy where it's me. No, not at all. This is about our community, and I love it here because I raised my kids here for a reason,
Right.
You know? I love Horizon City.
Oh, and I do as well. Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm not a father like you, but I also pay property taxes for these kids to go to school. So in a way, we're connected that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, it's whatever we do is for the community, right? And I understand what you're doing. You're bringing a light to something that a lot of folks don't see. But again, if you see something that doesn't sit right with you, give me a call, and we can talk about it. I don't mind at all.
Well, instead of putting it future dated like that, what I'd like to do is, and I'm not going to keep you here long, is first I'd like to say that this whole thing about filming the police out in public, now, that's, as far as the lawyers and judges are concerned, obviously everything becomes legal. So
yes, sir.
As far as the lawyers and judges are concerned, I have to, when I do my filming of police out in public, I have to make sure that I don't violate, which obviously you're not, I don't expect you to be an expert, so I'll just tell you.
I'm not an expert in that,
Right.
I'll be the first person to say, I'm not an expert. The only thing I can say is that, you know, I try my best to, if I don't know what it is, then I'll ask and find out where, right? And same thing with you. You know, if you don't know exactly, you're going to find out. You're going to do your research. So yeah, that's the only thing I can ask is that everybody be respectful of the job they're doing, and they're going to be respectful of the job you're doing. You know, that kind of thing.
Right. Well, and I appreciate that, sir. But what I'm trying to explain is I have done my research. I've done it the hard way by finding myself in handcuffs. Because what I was going to explain is that there's a law. It's called Texas Penal Code 38.15, which I don't expect you to be an expert in, but that's the law in this state, which is called interference with public duties.
Okay.
Now, as I was explaining earlier, there's many cops which, because they're human and they have their personal feelings about filming for various reasons, they will abuse and exploit their power, in my opinion, and they will arrest me for interference with public duties, which is Texas Penal Code 38.15, which ultimately, like I said, in general, my charges were always ultimately dismissed because the DA would see that I had not actually violated Texas Penal Code 38.15, which is interference with public duties. So that's where the rubber meets the road. That's the reality of the situation. I appreciate all the generalities and you offering me to sit down with a cup of coffee. And one thing I'd like to say at this very moment, before I go any further, is I apologize if I was, being basically an asshole. A few weeks ago, we were at the Amber's Coffee Bar. And you tried being friendly and shaking my hand, and obviously, as you know, I refused to do so. I didn't look you in the eye, and so my apology to you regarding that is that you're trying to say you're just a normal guy and all this, but I hate to break it to you, but you're no longer a normal guy. You're the mayor. So you've inherited all of my baggage,
Everybody's.
Yeah.
Everybody. Yeah, no, and I understand. I understand. And,
Yeah.
And what I can tell you is, with that, you know, I'm going to try my best to govern and do what I can for the city, for what's best for the city, you know. And I'm not doing it alone. I make sure those decisions are not mine alone. But you know, the council is there for part of that. They're citizens here as well, so that's why we have a council. And you know, and we're, you know, if like I said, and I'm pretty sure all of them are open to discussing any issues that you all might have as well, you know. So if not, bring it up to me.
Well, that's what I'm doing right now.
And if not, if they don't want to sit down with you, then bring it up to me and let me know, and that way we can go ahead and talk about those things. Because, you know, that the last thing I want is, I don't want people to think that they can't come to us. You know what I mean? We're here for a reason. We're here. Anybody could run for office. You could run for office.
Right.
You know, my hope is that one day you decide to run for office if you wanted to.
I don't think I have balls for that.
No, you know what? But
Yeah.
you know what? That's the thing. I didn't think I was going to do this either.
Right.
You know, I was running the youth league out here. I was a coach for years, and I was just coaching my kids up, and that was it. So I didn't think I was ever going to be in this position, but I did it because I knew that there was a need out here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's why I did it. But yeah, don't think that you know, again, going back, if you ever find yourself that you believe that maybe they don't want to listen to, give me a call, and we can talk about it. We can fix it. We can find a remedy somehow.
I appreciate that, sir. And my response to what you just said in the last 30 seconds is that, you know, and it's not even their fault, because they're bureaucrats, the cops, and the people in charge of them. They're not elected. They're all appointed, and they have mortgages to pay and they have bills to pay. So right off the bat, nobody wants to generally risk their job by coming on camera.
Yes, sir.
And so that right there is a problem.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, you have, like I said, built-in animosity, because you have a lot of cops, especially the older generation, that they've been cops in, like, you know, the 80s, the 90s, sometimes even the 70s, like the older crop.
Yeah.
A lot of them are very hostile towards cameras. So you got that.
Well, I'm part of the older crop too, as you can see all the gray.
Right. I'm also becoming part of the older crop, but we're not cops, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So in the culture of law enforcement.
Yeah. And I'm not an attorney, so I wish I can't even speak on that, because again, I'm not an attorney. I'm not an expert in that field, you know. So
no, and I'm not trying to ambush you in that way. I'm just trying to bring up a topic.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
So basically, what I'm trying to do today is, and I appreciate all the general hostility you've shown, but I'm trying to not get.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get direct answers from you.
Yeah.
But I am trying to say.
Yeah. Hey, there's an issue. And
Yeah.
let's start working on it. Yeah, absolutely. I understand where you're coming from.
And I believe the way to work on it is
Yeah.
that there has to be, and I'm going to follow this up with something that's going to assist you with this. There has to be a written policy at the Horizon City, Texas Police Department that obviously you can't cross the T and dot the I of every single possible hypothetical issue.
Yeah.
But there should be a general policy regarding people filming the police in public places where they're legally allowed to be.
Yeah.
Now, there is a policy on the books from all the way back in like the mid-2010s when Chief McConnell was in charge.
Okay.
But from what I read in that policy, basically it only discusses how the cops can actually seize someone's camera for evidence purposes. It has no discussion about what people are legally allowed to do and not do when filming the police. So what that allows is, it allows cops, especially ones that have what I consider bad intentions, they can say, oh, well, I believe there's probable cause to arrest for interference with public duties. Next thing you know, someone like me gets put in handcuffs and taken to jail.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Even though I get found, you know, my charges get dismissed later, all of the hardships of being arrested, I have to live with all of that.
Yes, sir.
Even to get an arrest expunged from my record costs thousands of dollars, even if I'm found not to have violated the law.
Okay.
I get me, and this could be me or anybody else. I'm not just trying to say it's just me, but anybody who engages in this First Amendment activity would then it's very, very likely that they could find themselves fired from their job because, especially if you can't make bail, which a lot of people can't.
Yes, sir.
Next thing you know, you're locked up for something you know you didn't do, and you'll eventually be found innocent of, but now you've lost your job. People can lose their apartments, their homes. So basically it creates a whole chilling effect, which stops people ultimately from engaging in filming the police, which is what a lot of cops secretly want, which is why a lot of them are quick to throw out the handcuffs and put people in jail, which is why I'm pretty much the only guy that...
And I'm glad you're bringing it up because I see both sides, right? So, and I've seen videos where there's some auditors that they're very aggressive, very, you know what I mean? So there's
I know exactly. I've been like that.
Yeah, there's two sides of it, right?
But that is legally protected.
It is legally protected.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that there's two sides of it. I'm not saying that everybody that does it is like that. The same way I can say that not all cops do that, right? All police officers do that. But what I'm saying is I'm sure that here in Horizon that our police officers we have a great police force. I can't say it. They're trained well, but yeah, we can surely take a look at putting in some kind of policy in place, a written policy. But
well, just to be clear, there is one that is in place.
Yeah, but you mentioned that it only discusses
how the cops could take my phone. Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying.
It needs to be updated.
I would have to review that. I don't know the specifics about it. Like I said, I'm not an expert in that, but I can find out, of course, and review that, and we can get back and kind of see what we can do on that. Everything I do, I have to take to council, something like that. I would have to take to council so that way they would approve it. But
that's why I'm saying this is an ongoing thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm glad that we can have this conversation. I don't want you, and I remember the day we were at Amber's Coffee. I will always put my hand out to shake your hand. I'll always show you the respect that you deserve, and I hope that you think that you can be respectful to me as well, because we live in the same community. We're residents here. And I don't see why we shouldn't be able to. You know what I mean?
Well, but you have to understand, or at least I'm asking you to understand, that everything you said is very nice and everything, but I really have been arrested in November or in 2019. One of which I had to plead guilty to, not because I even felt I was guilty, but because basically the entire weight of the state of Texas was brought down upon me, and I had to take a plea deal.
Yes, sir.
Because, like most people, I don't have the thousands of dollars.
Yes, sir.
We're talking tens, $20,000, $30,000 or whatever, like a massive amount of money for most people.
Yes, sir.
To defend myself in court, so I had to take my best option, which means I had to plead guilty to one charge that happened in April of 2019, which I know I'm innocent of.
Yes, sir.
But because the district attorney's office is able to bring the full weight of the government upon me, they are able to basically, like for example, and I'm not going to keep you here all day, but I just want to give you a quick example. At the time, I was delivering food. So I was a part of society. I mean, obviously that's not the best job in the world, but I was a functioning member of society delivering food. Yeah. Well, guess what happens? I didn't know this until it happened. But once I got arrested, even though I hadn't been convicted yet, immediately, Uber, Lyft, I forget which, I was working for Favor. They automatically, I'm sorry, go ahead.
DoorDash. I was just asking.
Yeah. No, I didn't do DoorDash. I did Favor, Uber, Lyft. Anyway, and I'm sure DoorDash would have done the same thing, but those three apps right there, no negotiation, no discussion, nothing. I got an email one day saying I'm thrown off the platform because they have ongoing background checks.
Yes, sir.
So a background check popped up. It said, "Oh, arrested for interference with public duties." All right, that's it. He's gone. No discussion, no negotiation, not even a number to call. So now lost my entire income or whatever. It was a part-time thing.
Extra income.
Yeah. And at the same time, now that huge hardship is on me. The cop, he goes about his day.
Yes, sir.
In fact, if he comes to court to testify, he even gets overtime. So everything is weighted against someone like me who is doing what I consider to be totally legal. And then at the end of the day, I have no one to tell my story to. I'm just left all alone. And people are like, "Oh, he's just a piece of trash. Why doesn't he just get a job?" Well, I did have a job. So that's just one example of how cops who abuse their authority can really ruin someone's life just with the arrest alone.
Yes, sir.
And that doesn't include all the actual physical handcuffs. Like, it really hurts your shoulders when you're being taken down to that jail. I mean, I'm not even telling you how to imagine that, because I'm sure you haven't been arrested. Or maybe you have, I don't know. But, you know, so every aspect of just the arrest, even though later it's like, okay, well, you're not guilty. So, all right, you're good to go. Well, I'm not good to go.
Yeah.
Now there's a conviction on my record for the rest of my life.
Yes, sir.
So I'm just trying to give you a perspective as to why someone like me is like looking so grumpy and has this black cloud over his head, and I'm at Amber's coffee bar and I'm not smiling and shaking hands and being all friendly. It's like, yeah, because everybody else, they've moved on with their life. Me, I had to pay the penalty for a crime I didn't commit. And that's just one example of why I started filming the police.
Yes, sir.
I've had, throughout my adult life, many problems with the police, which is obviously why I picked up the camera in the first place. But then once I actually exercised that right, which, by the way, has been adjudicated back in 2017 by the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. I don't know if you know what that means. I had to learn that myself. But the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, that's the appeals court that is in charge of Texas, Mississippi, and Louisiana. In 2017, there was a very important case called Turner vs. Driver, which reestablished and chiseled into granite that filming the police is legal.
Yes, sir.
So even after 2017, these cops, a lot of them, I know they secretly know that, but they try to act like, oh, well, I'm not sure, so let's just arrest you and figure it out later. So anyway, you're a busy man. You got a city to run. I'm not going to keep you here all day. This video right now, we're pushing 22 minutes. I appreciate your time. I
appreciate you coming out and talking to me. Again, if you want to sit down and talk, you know, I know this is an open invitation to you. If you ever want to talk, give me a call. We'll find time. This isn't. I have my own job, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have to, because this doesn't really pay. I get paid by the city, but I don't get.
It's not a full-time income.
It's not a full-time income. You know?
It's funny you say that, because Mendoza said the same thing.
You know, I have my own. I got jobs I have, and
right.
I work for my family just like everybody else.
Sure.
You know? And right now I'm headed to go. I got to go take lunch to my daughter. She's at home sick.
Right. You got to take care of your people.
But again, open invitation. If you ever want to sit down and talk, we'll schedule it. And that way we can kind of discuss and kind of, like I said, we shouldn't be adversaries at all, because we're working towards the same goal. I want my department to be, our police department to be the best in the state. And I honestly believe we have a phenomenal police department. But there's always room for growth, right?
Well, unfortunately, sir, what it's going to come down to is that in order for someone like me, I appreciate that you,
Yeah.
I mean, you're a very nice man. You obviously have, I'm trying to think of the right word here. You're trying to be like, all right, everybody should just get along. This is a nice place to live.
Yeah.
But here's the reality, is that you're never going to convince all these cops.
Oh, it's tough. I understand.
Yeah.
Believe me, but as a whole, we do have a good police department. We truly do.
But unfortunately, even though we do have a good police department, many of them still hold feelings about filming. For example, quick example, I know I got to let you go.
Yeah.
But some of them, I haven't even brought it up with the chief, but I will tell you this, since you are here.
Yes, sir.
Some of them, a couple of times, still put their flashlight directly into my camera lens deliberately, without a legitimate law enforcement purpose, in order to provoke and now I've gotten used to it over the years, so I don't react like I used to.
Yes, sir.
But they know what they're doing. I know what they're doing. I believe the chief has spoken to them about it, but a couple of them still do it.
Okay.
So that's just one example of how cops are human too.
Yeah.
Overall, I'd say the Horizon State Police Department is a good police department overall, and I would much rather deal with them than the El Paso Police Department, for example.
Yes, sir.
Who they're more aggressive.
Yeah, and again, there's always room for growth, right? There's always trainings. We want to make sure that we continue to be the best department there is, right?
Well,
and this is part of it. We have to make sure that they understand, they see it from a different perspective. There's not only just one perspective. You always have to see it from the other side, and I understand that. And we still have to follow the rules. We still have to follow the law, but it's nice to know that you can talk to somebody about your issues. And our chief, he's amazing. If you ever, again, if you sit down and talk with him and discuss issues, I'm sure he's going to be just like me. He's going to be very welcoming.
I disagree, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay.
that's why I'm trying to approach you today.
Gotcha. Well, well, now you have me.
Yeah.
So, now you can.
No, and that's why
Yeah.
I apologize if this seems like an ambush,
no
but
worries.
yeah, but yes, when I saw you, I'm like, you know what? This has been on my back burner for years, and you're the new mayor, so I have to finally, because with Mendoza, the only thing I ever brought up to him directly was about we need a post office, which that's a whole nother can of worms.
Working on that. All right. So the problem I have, and I'll get into that.
Yeah, I know Veronica Escobar has to deal with that.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to jump into that right now or if you want to
yeah, that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, no worries.
But yeah, in regards to this whole filming of the police thing, now obviously, when it comes to me coming into city council at the city council building,
the chambers over there. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you guys have never given me problems. You know, the reason I bring that up is because it seems like things are much more tense in like Socorro, for example, where the cops wear masks and they're always saying, if you step out of line, we'll arrest you. Like, I don't know, it feels different.
No, and I'll tell you that. So we're actually waiting for, we're putting in a new streaming, new cameras into our chambers. So
I recently sent an email about that.
Yeah, so we're going to be streaming. It's better cameras, so that way, because the current system that we have right now, it really doesn't facilitate the meeting the way it should be.
I'm sorry, sir, but the audio on that system is horrible.
It's horrible. Yeah, and that's exactly.
Socorro's kicking your ass. They have a way better.
Well, that's exactly why we decided to go ahead and purchase new cameras and new system and everything. So we're waiting for that to come in. So as soon as that comes in, it'll be installed. It'll be new, so that way everybody can actually watch an uninterrupted stream with good audio and good video. So that way we don't have these issues. So have a good lunch, ladies. And then that's exactly why we decided to do it. You know, so because of that reason. So you coming in and sitting in and listening to us, don't have a problem with that at all, you know, because it actually helps us because our audio is so bad. But we're fixing all that. That's going to be remedied here pretty soon, so don't worry about that.
I do appreciate that you guys don't have a problem with it, but just so that we're clear, and I'm not trying to make this like an adversarial thing, but actually me coming in, that's actually protected by state law anyway. But yeah, no, I appreciate that you guys have never tried to give me any problems, and you know, everybody's been always pretty friendly with me, and so
good. And that's going to continue.
Yeah,
you know, that's going to continue. So don't worry.
And so the reason I bring up that aspect of filming inside city council is because I'm not trying to complain about that type of situation.
It's everything on outside. Yeah, I understand.
Right. Well,
it's the confrontations that, well, not confrontations. I guess you could say confrontations that you've had with police and at traffic stops, correct? While filming traffic stops.
Well, what it all comes down to is, and many times I'm not even saying a single word.
Yes, sir.
But certain cops will come up and just say, and of course it's intimidating because they're cops and they've got their guns, their badges, the whole image, you know, it's like, or you don't know, but I'm telling you, is that when they walk up and they say, I'm going to need you to move from here to there, I know that that's not a lawful order. But then they'll say, well, I'll just arrest you and we'll figure that out later. I'll let the government decide that later. And of course they have qualified immunity and they can just get away with that. So what I'd like to leave you with is, because now this video is pushing 30 minutes, it's almost 29 minutes now.
You're gonna owe me lunch.
I know, so I'm being very careful. I'm trying to really end this.
You're gonna owe my daughter lunch.
So I know that you have to take care of your family, and I'm gonna let you go. But yes, sir. What I'd like to leave you with is that the chief, I believe, based on the behavior of most of his people, that the chief has informally told the Horizon State Texas Police Department, let Andre film as long as he's not violating the law. Yeah. There shouldn't be a problem. Generally, that's the case. But that's not enough for me, because he's not always going to be the chief. You're not always going to be the mayor. And without a written policy, who's to say that the next cop is not going to be like Sergeant Aggressive, which I've had issues with. That's an example.
Yes, sir.
So what I'd like to say is that when the city of Horizon City, Texas does not create a policy at that police department regarding the filming of police, it allows the chief to give, if it's a bad chief, to give tacit approval, because that's what's happening in El Paso. When I go film in El Paso, the chief at that police department, whether it was Greg Allen, recently passed, or the new one, when I get harassed by aggressive El Paso police officers, if I try to file a complaint, Internal Affairs immediately responds with, oh, well, they haven't violated a policy. Because why? The El Paso Police Department has no policy regarding filming of police. And they've deliberately done that so that someone like me has no way to complain, which ultimately...
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Sir, they're closed for lunch. They'll be back at 1 o'clock. Yes, sir.
So that's all I'm going to leave you with, is that the policy that's on the books right now only addresses how the police, based on the circumstances, how the police can seize my phone for evidence purposes, and then it doesn't address anything about what legal rights an individual has when filming the police. And so all I'd like to leave you with is, and I'll email you this later, is that the Austin, Texas Police Department, which happens to be the exact police department that Todd Harrison used to work for, they did create a policy. They created it back in the mid-2010s. And that's the policy that I'd like the Horizon City, Texas Police Department to adopt. Either exactly or similar policy.
Okay.
Because this issue has been all the way since, you know, when these smartphones started coming out in, like, you know, around 2014 is when smartphones became really powerful enough to actually start filming, even though compared to what we have now, there was like dinosaurs.
Nothing, yeah.
But around between like 2014 and 2017 is when this movement really started taking off. Austin, Texas was one of the first cities to actually create a policy regarding this First Amendment activity. So that's all I'd like to leave you with, is that I'll be sending you that policy in the future, you and the city council.
Yes, sir.
And the reason I'm sending it is, like I said, because this is an ongoing issue. It's not going to be solved overnight. But even though Chief Vargas is a very nice man, he also has always been professional and friendly with me.
Yes, sir.
I believe that he also has a career to protect, bills to pay, and he has to, he can't be thrown to the wolves with his own people by doing what his people consider to be, quote unquote, anti-law enforcement. So what he's done, I know this is what he's done, is he's quietly, informally told his people to allow me to film. But he hasn't actually created a written policy,
yes, sir,
the way the Austin, Texas Police Department has done. And that's only because he's a man who puts on his pants every day like anybody else, and he can't solve all the world's problems.
Yes, sir.
So he's done the best he can.
Yeah.
But that's not good enough for me.
Gotcha.
So anyway, I know you have to take care of your family.
No worries, buddy. Well, it was nice meeting you, sir.
Yeah.
And I again, anytime you want to talk, we can sit down and have a cup of coffee. We can discuss issues that you see or concerns that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I have a open door policy. So just give me a call, give them here at the city a call, and then we'll schedule it so that way you can come out and we can meet and whenever it's convenient for you.
Yes, sir.
And again, I'm gonna do the best that I can for the city in my short time here. And like anybody else, if y'all don't like what I'm doing here, then I can be voted out. You know what I mean? And that's really how it is. But I truly believe that we live in a great town and we have the same goal. You know, we want to live in a safe town. We want to live in a nice town for our families, for ourselves.
Right.
You know? And we shouldn't be adversaries. So when you see me at Walmart or something, hey, how are you? You know, hey, Andy. You don't even have to call me Mayor. Call me Andy.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
No,
because I did see you a couple weeks ago, and I know that you probably saw me when we were at Walmart, and it did feel very awkward not being, because I felt like such a jerk, like.
Yeah, and I was gonna say hi, but I didn't know how you were with me after the last time we saw each other at Amber, so I just kind of. But you seemed to say hi, Andy, and hey, how are you, sir? And so yeah, that's how I am.
Yeah, well.
So I hope you feel like you can just say hi to me whenever you feel. Don't feel like I'm an adversary.
No, well, yeah. But here's the thing, and I
understand. I understand where you're coming from. So.
Well, yeah, the thing is, you're automatically an adversary. It's not you're a nice man, obviously, But that's the problem, is that because you're the mayor and you've inherited all of my baggage, which...
But we can work together, right?
Well, that's my hope.
That's the hope. That's
Yeah,
the hope, buddy.
yeah.
That's the hope, and I appreciate you coming out. All
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
All
And
right, I gotta
so,
run again.
yes, sir. Yeah, you
Lunch
gotta
for
go.
my daughter, so,
Yeah.
But yeah, reach out anytime.
All right, and I don't know if I could physically meet with you in the future, but hopefully we could do like a recorded phone call, maybe.
Yeah, give me a call.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, I really appreciate the time.
You got it, buddy.
Yeah.